So I used to be a waiter and a bartender, and whenever a vegan would come in, I would always have to walk on eggshells to not offend them, and that always seemed to make them more angry.
Zach's back with another attack, so come on in and just relax. Hit subscribe and join the fun. You're Zach to the future now, son.
What's up, YouTube? Zach's back with another attack. Today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about tipping. I know that this is kind of something that everybody has ingrained in society. It's something that you're used to. You go to a restaurant, you have to tip. You go to the bar, you have to tip. Even if you go to get your hair cut, you're expected to tip. But why is that exactly? Well, it actually comes from Europe. In the late 1800s, when Americans would go to Europe, they would bring back traditions. And one of the ones they would bring back is tipping. Americans brought back tipping to try and seem worldly. And whether or not it worked is anyone's guess, but it was very frowned upon. Everyone hated tipping. And I don't know how exactly it became so ingrained in today's culture, but when it first came out, nobody liked tipping. In the early 1900s, some states even outlawed tipping. And it makes sense why tipping might become outlawed in several states, because it's really a weird practice when you think about it. Japanese culture even sees tipping as offensive. It's an insult if you give them money. Mostly today I'm going to be talking about tipping at restaurants specifically, which research shows that when you eliminate tipping from a restaurant, service quality actually increases. And when service quality goes through the roof and servers are getting paid fairly, isn't that a win-win scenario? That's what I think. And at the end of the day, in my opinion, tipping actually creates negative stigmas all around, whether it be from racial stigmas that certain people don't tip as much, from gender stigmas saying that men will tip hot waitresses more or ugly people less. That explains why I didn't get tipped very much sometimes. Or whether it's through the differences in classes and wage gaps, or just the fact that if you don't agree with the whole tipping system, you're automatically a bad person for not tipping well or not tipping at all. I mean, it's so ingrained in society. It's something that you just have to do, whether you like it or not. And in my opinion, that starts to violate on your freedoms. And if you can't protest something, then how is anything ever going to change? Now, I guess some people may love the tipping system, but others don't. It really plays into people who get tipped well and people who are really good at that job, and to the people who work in areas where people have a lot of money and are generous people. On the front of looking bad if you don't tip well, some celebrities who look bad from not tipping well are Barbra Streisand, Tiger Woods, Bill Cosby. Okay, maybe those aren't the best examples, but when I was a server, I would sometimes get tipped really well and sometimes get tipped really poorly. And research has shown that it's not based at all on the service that you give to the customer. It's based on people's personal tipping tendencies. Some people tip more, some people tip less. Ashley, for example, refuses to tip less than 20% no matter how bad service may be. I, on the other hand, tend to tip 20% at least, but if service is bad, I'll give them a little less. And I think a lot of that's because I have been a server, and I know that if my service was bad, I wouldn't get 20%. But at the same time, I've had amazing service for tables that had upwards of 10 people and still received only like 20 bucks, if that. And it's crazy because you can work your butt off and still not get paid enough. And the argument that most people give is that servers have to get minimum wage. If you don't get the tips to add up to minimum wage, then the restaurant has to compensate you the rest of the way. But serving isn't about having the restaurant compensate you the rest of the way. And at the end of the day, the whole point of tipping seems to be so that restaurants don't have to pay you as much as they would regular employees anyway. But how is this fair to anyone? It doesn't improve the way that I treated customers, knowing that they may give me more money. It sometimes made me serve less well, because what if I did the best job and other people suffered, and then I'd only got a little bit of money from them, or no tip at all? There's people that will stiff you no matter how good their service is. And that's just the sad fact. My question for you guys is, what do you usually tip? And what are your views on tipping? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Is it just something we're gonna have to live with? Is it something that should be looked at more? I don't think that anything will really happen to it. I don't think it's going away anytime soon. But at the same time, it's something that really needs to be talked about, because it kind of just got ingrained in our society, and I feel like a lot of people don't like it. Or if they do, then there still should be a better way. I think if nothing else, servers should get the same minimum wage as other people, and just be able to get tips on top of that if their service is exceptional. I know when I was serving, I hated going to work every day and not knowing if I was going to leave making enough money to pay my bills or not. That's one of the reasons why I'm not serving anymore. I just needed something more stable and something where I could go into work every day and leave knowing my bills will be paid. On the flip side, there was days I loved serving. I've made $300 in 8 hours before. And that's just because I had a lot of tables, or they were generous, or I gave great service, or whatever the case may be. Either way, I made that bank, yo. And in those days, I loved the tipping system. But what happened when I made $300 one day, and then $10 the next day? There's even been days that I lost money by coming to work. And though it averaged out to minimum wage over the course of a week, it's really demotivating to go into work and not make much money, or to even lose money, no matter how much money you made prior to that. That's where I'm going to end it. I want to know what you guys think. Leave a comment down in the comments section. Be sure to hit the subscribe button so you see all my content. And I hope you're having a great day. I'm Zach, and I'll catch you in the future.